this development that is going to be housed at the former U.S. Steel site, just down the street here, beginning at 79. We are so close to entering phase 1. Now, it's been painful getting there, and I want to thank you all so much for putting up with a lot of the disruption that has happened in and around your homes. But I want to tell you, when this thing is over, it is going to be so worth the effort. For the first time on the south side of Chicago, we are going to have retail and housing that mirrors what exists on the other sides of town. But let me say this. Not only is it going to mirror it, but it is going to exceed what other folks have on other parts of town. Why is that? We already know that Navy Pier is the #1 tourist destination in the city of Chicago. We know that the museum campus is another museum or #1 tourist destination in the city of Chicago. What most folks don't know, but they're going to find out fairly quickly, is that the South Shore Market Commons, that's going to be located right outside of your door, will be the next tourist destination here in the city of Chicago. Now, how is that going to come to fruition? Right now, people are able to take water taxis from Navy Pier over to Shedd Aquarium, and soon they'll be able to take it down here to the South Shore Market Commons. When that happens, there's going to be an explosion of activity. The road that is going in, US 41, South Shore, is just the beginning of that development. What does that mean to you? This means jobs. Jobs that we all need, jobs our families need, and jobs that are not temporary jobs, but jobs that are going to be here for quite some time. This development, and you've heard me say it again, but I gotta say it over and over, because when I hear myself saying it, I'm shocked at what we're going to have down here. This development is larger than the Loop. It's larger than the Loop. And so when it's all said and done, it's going to house close to 13,000 new housing units. And when I say 13,000 new housing units, I'm talking about affordable housing too. So housing that's going to include everyone. And this is not going to be walled-off housing. This is going to be a community that is open and inviting and that brings our existing communities in. And so the patience that you have displayed and waiting for this road to come in, I can't tell you enough how happy I am.
Go ahead.
How gratified I am that you all have been so diligent in your support of this. Tonight, we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts. It may get a little technical, so I'm going to ask you to be patient as we walk our way through this. You've seen a lot of changes. There are more changes to come. Some of this stuff is going to take a little bit of time because the cold weather is coming on. And so some of the work is going to have to stop until it warms up again. And so I'm going to ask you again, I'm going to apologize, in fact, in advance for the inconveniences some of this is going to create. We're going to have some sidewalks that are not going to be fully repaired, and so on and so on. Our colleagues are going to talk a little bit about that, about the landscaping. But I want you to know, because some of you have asked me already, and then I'm going to turn this over to our fabulous team from CDOT.
Go ahead.
But some of you have asked me about work on the rest of South Shore Drive. When is that going to happen? And why isn't it happening right now? Well, please know that that work is slated to happen. What we're trying to do is we're trying to do it in a timeline that makes sense. Once this is done, CDOT has on schedule work that's going to continue on South Shore Drive. So we're going to be working on all of it, not just this part at 79, but work that will go from 79 all the way up to 71st. And so we plan to deal with all of that in a timeline and in a way that makes sense, so we don't have to go back and do it over and over and over again. Because a roller coaster. And you're ducking and you're dodging potholes that we've filled in over and over and over again. We don't want to do that. We want to get this going so that we can get onto the site and get the development going there. And then we want to bring the rest of the road into that, along with the other roads that exist within the ward that are severely pockmarked. We got to get that fixed. And so please know that that's on the radar. But I have to say this. I'm so proud to have these gentlemen here because they are on the case. And if ever there were experts who could get this done, these are the folks that can do it. And so I can't tell you enough what a pleasure it is to work with them. And I gotta say this for the mayor. I gotta say this, a big shout out to the mayor. Because when he came into office, he came down here and he rode through our area with me. And he asked me, what is it you need to get this development going? What do you need to have in place to change the lives of the residents of the 7th Ward? And I told him, the simplest thing you can do and the quickest thing you can do for us right now is to get this road in. You get this road in, we can bring retailers in, and when they see that view, they won't be able to say no to it. And when they know what we have planned, what we hope to see come to fruition on that road, they will want to be there. Now, you all have heard me talk about a certain famous person who got his start organizing the families of steelworkers who used to work at that steel mill, who in fact started out as a community organizer over there, and then went on to become our state senator and later our U.S. senator, and now our second-term president. Well, we think that that site makes all the sense in the world when he is at the completion of his term to have the Barack Obama Presidential Library. That should be housed right there, with viewing overlooking our city's beautiful landscape. There is no other skyline as beautiful as that skyline from this vantage point. And we all know it because we've all been to Rainbow Beach, and we know how spectacular it is. Now, why is this possible? This is not a dream. Let me tell you another library that's built in a very similar place, with a very special history to all of us. And it speaks volumes as to why something like this could happen. Everyone assumed that President Kennedy would build his presidential library at Harvard. But he didn't. He built it in a working-class neighborhood, an Irish working-class neighborhood, overlooking the water. And that presidential library helped to rebuild that community. This library can do the same here, and we're going to keep pushing for it, fighting for it, until we get it. And so I want to thank you all for coming. We're going to turn this over in just a moment to our friends from CDOT, but before I do, I don't know if Principal Jordan's here. But if he is, I want us all to give Principal Jordan a loving round of applause. He has opened his doors so that we can have this meeting here. So we want to thank Principal Jordan, and I want to quickly turn this over to the Commissioner of CDOT, Commissioner Gabe. Come on up, Gabe. Give him a round of applause.
Well, Alderman Jackson, she knows this project better than anybody. But when I came in with the mayor, he made it really clear to me that this project was near and dear to his heart. He had talked to all the Thomas to not just talk about this project, but actually get it done. And when I talked to the developer, the people that were going to make private sector investment in this property, said, how can we do that until we have a road? The road is the first step. And the infrastructure and the utility work that needs to be placed there to actually power that investment. So we took it very seriously, and within months of taking office, the mayor was out there with myself, with the Alderman, cutting ribbon to start that project. And I have to give a lot of props to John Sadler and our engineering team, Captain Smith, HDR, who are with us today, who've done a phenomenal job on the project. first step, but there are other things that we need to do. With CTA, we just launched the Jeffrey Jump service the other day from the Loop down to 83rd Street, and we still have some bits and pieces that we need to add, like the traffic signal prioritization, so the bus always gets the green. There's a queue jump, I believe, 83rd Street, so the bus can jump ahead of traffic. We still have some more shelters to put in, but that's the first step in providing rapid bus service here in the city. So we're looking at how do we link that to this project. We've also met with the developer and talked about what infrastructure and transportation investments they're to work with us to put in. Whether it's local bus, local tram service, the ability to basically metro stops. There's a lot of conversations happening. And also, what's talking about that, he said, thanks to the involvement of you all, we made sure that it was as safe as possible for pedestrians as well, so they can get across the street to the park. And most of you probably have not heard me speak before, but I'm very passionate about making the city safe for people walking, taking buses and transit, having the opportunity to bike and use all forms of active transportation. We definitely make sure that we make those investments here, particularly because it's a nice lake. And then we're trying to retrofit safer crosswalks, bike lanes, and various other facilities and signage throughout the south side. We want everybody to have access to safe, high-quality, inexpensive transportation. And today, I walk to work from the south loop to work. I walk around 3 days a week. And I'll tell you, 30 days I walk, I'm not doing the gym anymore. So what's that, right? So we want to get people out and active and help them. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the experts who've been working on this project diligently the last few years. But ever since we actually started working on that day, we're working on relocated. John Sass is project manager and also our dedicated engineer.
Pleasure to be here. As Commissioner indicated, how do you build a major capital improvement here in the south? How do you minimize the construction impacts to the neighborhood? All of it has to be carefully coordinated together. What do we look at? We look at when is the spaces most occupied. So one of the things that we did here is put together a construction schedule that would minimize the inconvenience to the rental and the park space that that presents. What we did is we did the majority of the mainline work to date. So what we're doing is we're building US 41, which is the new US 41 mainline. This will create less cut-through traffic through the neighborhood. It's going to be our major road through this new development. So when we build it, or as we're building it, we're building most of it offline to minimize any of the inconveniences that most major highway constructions present. After Labor Day, we moved into obviously the intersection at 79th and South Shore. We're currently in that construction stage. We just recently opened that street back up between Cheltenham and 79th Street this past week. So that was under the time provided for the contract. That's a credit to the contractor in our construction site.
Speak up! We can't hear you back here.
I'm sorry, is that okay? My apologies. So what I was saying is we just opened up the South Shore back up to traffic between 79th Street and Cheltenham last week, which is under the time that was provided for in the contract. So the contractor and the resident engineers did an excellent job of coordinating that. What we're going to do is we're also going to tie in US 41 here on the south end at 92nd Street. That work will also be done in the spring of next year. So what we have now is we have basically a new roadway between 79th Street to 87th Street. There is going to be spring work, as you all had indicated. That work will include the, I'm sorry, let me get to work will include the construction of the new CTA bus station. So that is all work that's being coordinated through into the spring of next year. So, one of the things that we're going to do in the spring is we're going to have a new configuration tying 79th Street into the US 41. So to orientate yourself on this drawing, I need to point out that actually you're looking into the park from the south. So north leading down towards the floor, the park is over here. The new CTA turnaround is going to be over here on the left of this exhibit. This is the South Shore 79th intersection, US 41 intersection. So where US 41 currently proceeds south, South Shore, it is now going to turn to the east and go on to the new US 41 through the USX 7. It's going to be close to the lake, east of Brandon. That's an excellent lead-in. One of the things they are going to do from a pedestrian access, or from a vehicular access on Brandon, is there will be a median, landscape median, between South Shore and the new US 41. That median will extend past Brandon, creating a right-in, right-out for Brandon. That'll be much safer for pedestrian or for vehicular movement. In order to accommodate pedestrians, because as the Commissioner said, we do not simply design roadways just for vehicular use. We design for bicycles, we design for pedestrians. We looked at the proximity of the crosswalks in the original plan, and we have added an additional crosswalk at South Shore to get into Rainbow Park for more better pedestrian access from our original plan. All of this work will be tied in into the spring. Yes, thank you. To the south, we're going to tie this into what was already built south of 87th Street, down to Ewing and into Avenue O. So this will be your connection to Ewing, going further south down the existing US 41 road. So all of this will create less cut-through traffic, less neighborhood traffic into the neighborhood, and be able to control that on the new US 41 going point south. So that's a real advantage for cut-through traffic. Congestion on Brandon, you know, there's a lot of cut-through traffic currently in Brandon. So that is going to be improved with this new road. The work for the spring is going to be basically what we're done with right now is we have everything north of 79th Street basically complete. People's Gas is working on their gas main on the east. They're going to finish that up this fall on the west side. So that 79th Street configuration that you see today will be the configuration that will be in through winter until we start back up in the spring. They're going to do some west side sidewalk work starting the next couple of weeks, so you will have that sidewalk work. All the landscaping will be done in the spring. Bus turnaround, spring. The current location of the CTA bus stop is where we're looking until project's complete. What we're doing in the spring, we're going to do a street reconstruction on South Shore between 71st, or street resurfacing on 71st South Shore between 71st and 79th Street. That work's going to commence early 2013 and will be complete in the summer of 2013. That'll be followed up and coordinated with some of the estimated work that's forthcoming on South Shore. We are not widening the street. Bypass road and be connected to point south on US 41.
Will that resurfacing similar to the work that's being done now on 67th Street from Jeffrey to Stony Island, where the sewers are being replaced? There's rebar, there's
No, ma'am.
concrete, because the streets are caving in and the sewers are over 100 years old. How comprehensive will it not be?
We're going to do the resurfacing. We are working with the sewer department on identifying some of the
need be. So it's a resurfacing project, right? But if there's significant work that needs to be done, then we will amalgamate all that work and get it done. If we need to open up the street a little more, that's what we'll do.
I guess my question is, if you happen to move out 41, which means it's going to be like a, kind of like an expressway, right? Still going to tie in at 79 and go to 71st, right?
South,
Right?
South Shore between 71st and 79 will still be basically the same section as it is today, but we'll have new riders for the days.
So for Route 41, it's totally brand new contract, right? Which means more people can actually travel, right? Therefore, with more traffic being on that road, as it comes to 79, it goes to 71st, which means the resurfaced paved road is pretty much going to get ran over again, which means 5, 7 years, possibly maybe will end up being the same way it is now. So it's
Yeah, the streets need to be resurfaced approximately every 10 to 12 years. I mean, it depends. It depends, well, but it also depends on the type of material, right? It depends on how much industrial traffic, how many buses. We have some streets that are going 20 years, and they're okay. We have other streets that are 7 years, and they need to be replaced. So there's resurfacing and there's full reconstruction. So you want to do full reconstruction maybe every 30 years. So each street is different, though, and it depends on the typology, the amount of traffic, and so on.
Susan, we do have a form. If you'd like to ask a question, please do write it down. We'll pass it on to Kiana, the chief of staff, and she will give it to the presenter. Thank you so very much. Let's keep it orderly, and everybody's question will be on. Thank you so very much.
You all, I'm just going to take a quick moment to have a little commercial, because I didn't say this at the beginning of my remarks. Yesterday at Sullivan Elementary School, we hosted another meeting similar to this, where we had businesses that wanted to get involved in this project. Local businesses from the 7th Ward and the 10th Ward who wanted to get involved in this. And there are some businesses here tonight that are very interested in getting involved as well. And so I want to encourage you to leave your card with us so that we can put you in the database and be sure that you get information about upcoming meetings. Last night's informational meeting was a continuation of a series of meetings we're having about this. We're going to continue having meetings like this too, but we're also going to have meetings about job opportunities that will spring from all of the things that's going on. So you guys have heard me say this in the past. I'm going to keep saying it because it's critical for us. The best way for me to get in touch with you is to have your telephone number. I can't buy it because of the telemarketer's law, and so you have to give it to me or give us your email address. But give us your telephone number so that we can call you and remind you, like the day before, that this meeting is coming on. If you have family members who have companies that may be interested in doing business, and when I say companies, it could be a printing company, it could be a catering company. There are so many things that are going to spring from this. People need to be fed when they go on those sites. When we hosted the Dave Matthews Band there, and over 150,000 people showed up, we needed to have restaurants that could feed the workers who were there servicing that site. And many of those restaurants were located right here in the 7th Ward. We wanted to get LNGs tied up in it, but they couldn't turn around the lunch fast enough, so we need to get them some more waiters and some more cooks over there, because that food is going to deliver, doesn't it? But we need to do that. And so for these restaurants, we want to make sure that they're benefiting from what's going on here, and your family members who are looking for work and who want to get engaged, now is the time, so don't be shy about giving up that telephone number. I know it's hard, I get the calls too. And sometimes we're past that season where you get the calls every 5 minutes. But these calls, and you'll hear me say it, hi, it's Alderman Jackson, with a very important message. How many of you guys get that? Yeah, and that's important, and I'm going to keep calling you. So don't hang up when you hear my voice. It's the best way to get this, and I want you to get it. I want you to have this information. It's really critical. Matt is here, and who has been doing most of the cement work, and all of those things, the technical things that I can't speak to, that they can. And so they're going to be standing by at the ready to talk with you if you're interested about learning more about that. But you know, my primary goal is to make sure that you understand what's happening. And if there are job opportunities connected to it, we need to get with it. Because our folks need to have these resources to keep uplifting our community. And that for me is what it's all about. Okay? That's the end. All right, here we go. Oh yeah. We're going to go to questions and answers now. Some of you have asked questions that are related to CTA. And if we can answer those questions, we will. Some of the stuff is Streets and Sam's questions. We'll try to get to that too. But we want to prioritize the questions that deal directly with this project and questions that CDOT can answer directly, okay? And so if you don't hear your question answered right away, just know that we're trying to really get to the questions that pertain directly to this meeting, okay? All right, here we go with the first question.
I have a question here regarding what are the changes being made to the park at 71st entrance points for the community by foot? That's an excellent question. This is exactly what we were discussing earlier regarding the crosswalk at South Shore and 79th Street and new US 41. Orientate. The park is here north. What improvements are being made to access the park by foot?
That's 71st, not 79th.
This is 79th Street.